Tell me when I'm
Yeah.
back in, I guess.
Okay, I think you're back in. What's up, buds, and welcome to a new episode of the Earbuds Podcast, the podcast where two friends talk about one album for minutes. We are your hosts, Lucas and Ash, and today we are talking about an album I brought to the table, and I'm super interested to hear what Ash has to say about this record. It is by an artist called Natalia Lafourcade. I think that's how you pronounce her name. And the album is called Hasta la Raiz. I wanted to bring. I think this is the first Spanish language record we've talked about on the show, right?
Um, yes, but not. I think we talked about one RX Bandit song that has a white boy
Yeah,
doing Spanish in it, and I think that's
yeah,
about it.
yeah. That doesn't count. I guess it doesn't really count. But yeah, I really wanted like over a year ago, maybe even more. Yeah, I really wanted to like. I started thinking, I'm Dominican. I never really go out of my way to listen to like Spanish language music often. And Natalia was someone that I discovered like a few years ago and just have always loved her. And so I started thinking, I was like, well, she would be the first one that I bring on, just because I feel like it's I think she's really good. But I was thinking, I honestly didn't think how much this album like might be really difficult for you to not only like ingest and like fully comprehend and enjoy, but also like kind of hard for you to critique and review since you don't really speak Spanish.
Well, yeah, I mean, I there are 12 songs on this record.
I'm so glad you didn't listen to the extended or
No,
special
no,
edition or
that
whatever, because I was like, oh my God.
that would be fucking crazy. This album is long enough.
Yeah,
Um,
the special edition adds like another half hour
yeah.
to it. Like, that's a whole Seinfeld episode. I don't know if I can
I,
do
I could be watching too much
another one.
Seinfeld while that's happening.
It'd be too much Seinfeld at that point. A whole episode?
Why? What's too much Seinfeld?
I mean, what's the deal with what you think about this record?
I didn't understand any of the lyrics. I just
Yeah,
didn't
I
have the
didn't know how much
time.
Spanish he spoke. I wasn't sure.
I didn't have the time to like look it up and then Google Translate every line individually. You
Right.
know.
I was curious if you were gonna do that. That you would have gotten extra credit for sure.
But I did at least translate the songs. And I feel like I don't know. Unless I'm mistaken, the from the song titles, it sounds like I could kind of piece together what's happening.
Yeah, I was thinking that too when I was like listening to it one last time today and reading the lyrics, like really following along with it. I'm just like, oh, you can really if you have like an elementary, cursory understanding of Spanish, if you know a little bit of Spanish, I'm like, you can pick up on the themes on a lot of these songs,
Yeah,
which
sure.
is good. And I also thought I was like, well, if we can't, which we rarely break down lyrics anyway, but it does add to people's, it adds so much to music for me when the lyrics are really good, which they are on this record. But if you don't understand them, then it's like, okay, well then we can at least like critique and kind of break down and talk about the music
Yeah.
and the overall like production and all of that. So we won't discuss the lyrics at all, except that they're really good and they're very personal and at times really sad and at times really happy and everything in between.
And so I was wondering. You keep talking about it's this whole new thing. It's this difficult new thing. What part of this, aside from me not understanding the lyrics, did you think was difficult?
Well, you know, I listened to a lot of Natalia's stuff and I forgot that this record was so pop leaning. That she
Yes.
kind of she goes a little harder in the more like traditional kind of Mexican sound, like Veracruz sound, a lot more in like her later stuff and even in her earlier stuff. But this album feels like very kind of like centered and focused and just pop music and pop rock
Yeah.
and indie, So when I listened to it again all the way through, I was like, oh, okay, this might remind Ash of like Max Frost or something, and like maybe
I'm.
you'd be able to like find things that you like because you like pop music even more than I do,
Yeah, I like
So
pop music. It's not like there was a certain artist that I attributed this, like, that I attributed her to, but I imagined it was just something you would like. They'd be playing a show at a cafe, or you could catch them, like, I don't know, at ACL. or something.
Yeah, because it is kind of singer-songwriter as well.
Some of it is very singer songwriter, very like acoustic guitar with maybe some like orchestra in the back. Um,
Dude, that's the thing that set it apart for me is like the instrumentation and like the compositions of every song because this is a very like pop leaning album. It's like acoustic rock kind of pop leaning album,
yeah,
but then on every song there's so many strings and then some have horns and extra percussion and then they have fun with the production of like the electric guitars that they have on some songs and like they play around with a lot of different rhythms on this
yeah,
album too
yeah.
that
They have a lot of different
yeah.
like rhythms and patterns and even like time signatures and stuff. They play around with, some songs will have horns, some songs have orchestra, some songs won't have any. Some songs will like kind of feature that acoustic guitar. The very first song on the album kind of has that like you can tell it's mic'd up real close to the strumming hand. You can hear that kind of chunk on the strings more than you can hear the actual notes.
Yeah, for sure. That the first track feels very of its time. So this album came out in like 2015.
Yeah.
To me, the first track, which is the title track, it has this like Mumford and Sons, Edward Sharpe and the Magnetic Zeros type, like 4/4, just hitting the kick the whole time. Like it sounded like she was like playing acoustic guitar and like stepping on a kick drum, how those bands love to do,
Yeah, yeah,
you
yeah,
know?
sure.
So yeah, it felt that was the first kind of takeaway when I listened to this record again was that so it came out 8 years ago. Came out in 2015,
Yeah.
and to me, it kind of sounds. Some of the songs sounded a little dated in in specific ways.
Like what specific ways? What do you mean?
Mostly the motif of every song, like because the album goes in a lot of different directions, but stays kind of in the same realm. But you have some. There's a lot of surf rock on this record randomly, like a lot of kind of surf rock kind of stuff. A lot of 50s kind of like Elvis 50s vibe or like Patsy Cline type like 50s pop music
Sure. Yeah.
vibe. There's some reggae in here. There's like some straight up like Coldplay type pop music. But what kind of it all sounds kind of dated because I started reading up on it and I don't know, something about the melodies and the song structure, just like the way that she built each song and mostly the melodies that she's using feel very 2015 to me. Feel very like pop forward. Um, it's very hard. It's really hard for me to like quantify what it is. But then I found out that she spent 3 years writing and recording this album, and so I was thinking, oh, okay, so maybe by the time it came out, some of the stuff she wrote was like, well, this sound was really popular in 2012,
Yeah.
or this sound was really popular in 2013,
And
and
also,
she kind of made her own version of it all.
if I'm not mistaken, is this her first original album?
I was not totally sure about that because she released like 3 records before this, but one of them is like a cover album.
Yeah, one of them's like a tribute album.
Yeah,
Um
but I think this album was her return back to original songs.
okay, so it's not like her first venture.
I don't think it's her first original, yeah, or like the where she wrote out all of it now,
All right.
which
Well,
is pretty amazing. Yeah, it's pretty amazing that she has writing credits on all of these songs, so she is like full on
I I always wonder
artist.
like what does that mean when the like singer has a songwriting credit? I always wonder like
Yeah,
because with someone with an instrument you can very easily kind of guess what they helped with, but it's there's this whole degree of like she could have helped with a part or she could have like structured the entire thing and like
right.
came up with the riffs and stuff like that.
I think she had a lot of involvement in every aspect of the songwriting. Most songwriting credits on the album is her and one other person.
Damn, very
It's not
cool.
always the same person, right? But yeah, I have a feeling that she's a full on like artist. I've seen her play guitar in live performances, and I'm sure she plays piano also. And it's just it's just kind of Yeah, she's kind of like an all around, artist.
Yeah.
And that's what kind of to me, I was like, at first when I was first going back to it, I was like, this does kind of sound dated. It does kind of sound a little 2015, I guess, or 20 early, 20 teens. But then the more and more I listen to it, the more that I realize like how really um, fully fleshed out these songs are in terms of the instrumentation of it all. It's like there's so much happening in each song, and their stripped down parts feel really stripped down on the album because on a lot of it is this kind of big theatrical cinematic, orchestra that's like kind of playing along with her on a lot of stuff.
I I really didn't get that feeling from this album. I thought there were like the bass instruments of uh percussion, guitar, bass, and then we'll pop in a horn on this song or we'll pop in some strings on this song. I thought it was very almost minimal in that in that way.
Whoa. Well, I don't know. I don't know, man. By the end of the album, there was on almost every track, there's like a full on like string section.
Yeah, maybe I don't know, maybe I'm just so used to like string sections in songs that it's like not special to me anymore.
Yeah,
you
because
know?
to me, I was on a lot of the tracks, I was in my head, I was picturing that it wouldn't feel out of place to see her perform these songs in a theater with like a full orchestra.
Yeah, sure. Totally.
Like I feel like they would translate really well to that. And there were a lot of songs, kind of made me think of Bad Religion. There were a lot of songs on this album that felt super like from a musical, like really theatrical and cinematic to me. And I think a lot of it had to do with her voice too.
For sure. I think the last two songs both have kind of big theatric
Yeah,
moments, especially.
especially the last two.
But she does bring it down low, and it's like she's sitting in a forest when it's snowing and like contemplating life or something. Uh,
Yeah, a lot of this album was written by her, obviously, and she was just she got more personal than she'd ever been on her in her lyrics and in her music and everything. So like this album just kind of feels very raw when like you can understand the lyrics and everything. So it's like the instrumentation pushes all of that raw emotion like over the edge and really like pushes it front forward and it like then her voice just adds even more to it, you know? Like my favorite part of her music is her voice.
sure. I mean, that makes a lot of sense. I don't think
Yeah.
there were any. I really liked the bassist throughout the entire album.
Yeah,
Um,
the bass was great.
but I mean, it's definitely there's no they're not trying to hide that she is the feature here. You know?
Yeah, I mean, her voice is just so like sweet and cute and pretty,
Yeah.
and she mentioned Bjork as a influence of hers in an
Really?
interview, and I was like, okay, I can kind of hear it, and how like loose that she can be with her voice.
Sure.
I think like her inflections and some of the ways that she writes some of the lines in some of the songs, it's like she'll stretch out words just to make them fit, just to make it work for like a line, or she'll sing really quickly just to make this one line work in this one. It's like she like won't budge. It doesn't like the way that she writes the songs don't always work. They're not always perfect for each line, but she's like, whatever, that's the line. And so it feels more kind of poetic and a little more like loose
Sure.
to me.
I mean, like things like that aren't really things I could catch on. Um, but
Yeah, I guess it would just be like really listening to her cadences and everything. But yeah, to you, you're just like, is this too much? I don't know. Like,
because I don't know. I thought her voice was great throughout the whole thing. Um, and I was glad that it wasn't all just like it, it's all in the realm of singer songwriter, but there are a lot of
yeah,
places she goes to within that realm, and I was very happy to get some change every once in a while and switch it
for
up.
sure. Yeah, for sure. Like, I know that you're not. Would you say singer-songwriter is like your least favorite genre?
Um,
Like reggae.
no, I I mean honestly, like yeah, reggae's probably
Yeah,
I don't know. I don't know. But singer songwriter can especially be very dull when it's like you could tell it's a person with an acoustic guitar and it's just kind of the same instruments the whole time and it's the same kind of thing the whole time, which is not at all a problem on this record.
Oh,
And I, yeah, if she wrote all these songs, not a problem with this person.
yeah, right. I mean, man, and when I first saw the special edition though, I was like, Jesus Christ, an hour and 16 minutes. It has like a reggae version of one thing and like a different version of another song,
I
and
the
then it has like four extra tracks on top of that. I was like, good Lord.
the first time I listened to it, I didn't know what the special edition songs were, so I listened the whole time. I like finished No Mas Llorar, is that?
Yeah.
And I was like, damn, cool. And then I played another song and was like, oh, that kind of seemed like the end of an album type of thing to me, but
Yep.
whatever, let's keep going.
Just like that was like a fucking psych,
It
like
was
a
like,
fake ending.
oh no, we still got like a fourth of the album to listen to.
He's like 10 more minutes.
But I will say about the songs, some of them I are just too long, man. I
There,
think
I was yes, I was surprised at how long some of these songs were.
like the fourth track, Ya no te puedo querer,
Yeah.
like 5 minutes, and it's just it's kind of this one main part that repeats over and over again. And it couldn't remain fresh past like minute three, though it wasn't a bad song.
Yeah, I think all these songs pretty much are really catchy. The choruses are just like super catchy and bouncy and fun.
Yeah,
But yeah, man, there's a lot of 4 or 5 minute songs on this, and there doesn't need to be. They don't need to be that long, that's for sure. But I guess if again, like, I don't mean to headphone shame you or anything, but it's like when I listen to it on my nice headphones, it's like it is just this. The production on this record is so fucking good. Like, it is so good. This album is so warm, is the way that I would describe it. And it
yeah,
just feels like you're in a theater, like listening to her play. And it's so well produced and mastered and mixed and all of it that it's like, oh man, like listening to it on good headphones, I'm like, okay, I've heard this part 3 times now in this song, but it's like every time in a lot of the songs, when they reintroduce going back to a chorus or that sometimes they play a bridge like twice,
yeah,
like a bridge type thing. But they'll add more to it in instrumentation the second time they go around. So it's like, oh, okay, we came back to the same thing, but now she added there's like 3 more strings and an acoustic guitar on top now. So I'm just like, oh man. So to me, it almost builds and builds and builds like each song. A lot of them do. And so I didn't mind the length because I was just enjoying the sonic like sounds.
I
But I
guess
totally
so.
agree. They're long. Like you're not wrong about the long.
And this, I mean, every it's a long album. I don't know exactly how long, but it's at least it's got to be at least an hour, right? It's like 12 songs, minimum 3 minutes, 3 to
It's probably
5
like
minutes.
50. Yeah, it's probably like 50 minutes.
I don't know.
Yeah.
And so I don't know. It kind of wore me out by the end. When I think
Mhm.
when you put this many songs on a record, um, and the record is this long, I think you're. I don't know what like I listen in earbuds. You listen in headphones. I listened on the bus.
I
Uh,
listened to it at my desk.
so maybe we had different sonic experiences, but I I
Absolutely.
think good music is always good no matter what you're listening to it on. Um, and it's not bad
Yeah.
music at all.
No, before we get into like all of your, because I'm open to you just being like, and I really didn't like this, and I really didn't like this. But before we get into that, I will say that I think if they cut out on the regular album, if they cut out the last 2 songs, it wouldn't have felt like it dragged on so long. Because those last 2 songs are the most kind of emotional and theatrical and long.
Yeah.
And it's like there's two songs in a row that are exactly like that, and those are the two songs that end the record.
I
So it's like, oh my God, it might be like a slog. Like if it ended with Lo que construimos, which is like a reggae, like Jack Black, a fucking Jack Johnson, Jason Mraz, like Hawaiian reggae song is what it sounds like. If it ended on that, it would have ended on such a fun, dancey, poppy,
I
you know, end.
I did think it was that they kind of ended the album on two songs that were doing the same thing. That had
Yeah,
like the
there was.
same
Yeah,
intention of like this is the album closer. We're gonna have a big moment here. And then Estoy Lista ends. And it's like, oh, we're at it
oh,
again.
we're doing it again.
There's a bit
Yeah,
of a fuller band on No Mas Llorar, and
yeah.
I really love that chorus. It's very catchy.
It's really, yeah, that's a great, both of those ending songs, I was like, these sound like the last song in a musical to
Yeah.
me. Just this last big thing, and yeah, like, is there anything that you didn't like about the overall like tone of the music? Is this your type of pop music or
Um I I don't know. I even though I listen on earbuds, I thought the production was great.
yeah,
I guess this is not usually my type of music at all. The kind of like songwriter, ballady kind of music
yeah,
is not usually my deal. If I'm listening to pop music, I kind of want it to be a little dancey, uh, or I guess like weird, uh, or rockin'.
hyperpop?
but but
Yeah,
it's
you want hyper
I want a little hyper pop. Is that too much to ask? Can a girl not get a little
a little
hyper
bit.
pop?
I mean, let's not get into that.
But I don't know. It's a great singer songwriter album. I was curious if you'd listened to it before or if this was your first time listening to this record. Um, I guess because I was wondering like, well, if Lucas really likes this album but doesn't like pop music, that leaves me a little confused.
I think, pop music uh is very hit or miss for me. It's not that I don't like it, but there's a lot that I don't like, and then especially Spanish pop music, there's a lot I don't like. But what uh Natalia got me, the first song I heard from her was Para que sufrir, which is like
Mm.
number 5 or 6 on this album, and it's just this like gorgeous song, and it's a really pretty message, and just a song that I had not heard something like that before, or at least I hadn't heard something like that maybe in a long time, so I didn't remember. It just sounds like a really old school song, and so that if you take that song away from this record, it doesn't sound like any of the other songs. It doesn't have that straightforward pop feel to it.
It's kind of
It
got a
has more of
jazzy
like a
feel about it.
yeah, it has like a samba, like Brazilian jazz
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
kind
yeah.
of, like that
Yeah,
type of thing. It's
they
like,
got the real plucky guitar stuff
yeah,
happening. There's like
yeah,
brushes on the drums if I'm hearing correctly.
really nice like electric piano, like kind of warbly electric piano playing, and
Yeah,
then it
yeah,
just
yeah.
has this very specific vibe to it. And so like she already got me with that one. So when I heard the whole album, I was like, oh wow, this is very different. But like I already loved her, and I already seen a bunch of like I watched her Tiny Desk concert, which is a great Tiny Desk
Oh,
concert.
I'm gonna
I'd
check
seen a
that
bunch
out.
of yeah, it's great. It's really good. And I've watched a bunch of her like music videos and live performances. And when I came back and listened to the whole record, I had already had all this context around her that it like helped me. It was way easier for me to accept like how poppy this album is because it's
Sure.
like I already loved her, and that's why I go into it. I was like, wow, this is super poppy, and I was like, it was unexpected because none of her stuff that I had seen before that it was a lot more traditional like Spanish music, like
Which is honestly kind of what I was hoping for when you brought this album
yeah.
on.
Yeah, I
But
forgot how poppy this album was. I should have found her more kind of traditional stuff.
I like I yeah, I was a little I was very surprised when I heard the album for the first time.
Yeah.
Um but I don't know, man. I like the bass is grooving the whole time. The percussion is real nice throughout the whole thing. The guitars are always nice. Uh, I miss having horns in music, man.
Oh man,
There's just no
I
fucking
could
horns anymore.
use in everything. Literally, they work in everything.
I just like why don't we have them here
Even,
now when
even
I need them?
yeah, even No Effects puts horns during their punk parts. Like horns work even in punk music. Like we need it. We need horns in metal. Like that would sound so fucking sick.
Ugh, that would be fucking awesome. I There
Yeah,
must
wouldn't
be
it?
a band that's doing that, right?
There's got to be a band that has like a distorted fucking trumpet or distorted saxophone in a metal band. There has to be
If
that.
we could like find a fucking like metal mariachi group, I think that'd be pretty fucking sick. I'm sure
Now
that's
you're
out there.
adding a whole bunch of stuff to it now. That's a metal and mariachi. I don't think go together at all.
I think that would be dope as fuck. But whatever.
That's like what's the fucking band that you made us listen to? Pinata.
Fucking Diablo Swing Orchestra. They were
That's
fucking
that's
sick. That was
that,
awesome
oh,
stuff.
they're awesome, but that's what you're describing.
Yeah.
Yeah, like weird circus mariachi metal music.
I'm getting into circus music these days.
You've been into it. So what would you rate this album then?
I'm gonna rate this one. With all that being said, uh,
With all due respect.
with all due respect, singer songwriter is one of my lesser listened to genres. And
This is a different version of it.
yes, a very different version than like if we brought on John Mayer or something.
Right.
Um, and so I
Which, by the
definitely
way,
enjoyed it much more
listen.
than I'm sure I would enjoy like 80% of singer songwriter stuff from
Right.
America.
Right.
Um, but there weren't many moments that really grabbed me. I loved her voice throughout the whole thing. It was a great feature. She was kind of, it seemed to me she was kind of in that same range the whole time. And there were only, I don't know, the few moments where she really got into it were really fun. Uh,
Yeah.
but overall, this one kind of fell off my back a little bit, and I'm gonna give it a 6.
It was like water off your duck back.
It's like water off my duck back and my wings, my duck wings.
I'm so glad that you're finally acknowledging your duck back, dude. Just be proud of it.
I'm sick of hiding it. I should be proud of
Yeah.
it, you know?
You're always embarrassed when we go to the pool and water just trickles off. It just slides off your back like a grease slick.
And then I get like dry too quickly and everyone's laughing at me.
Yeah, we all pick on you.
Yeah, yeah, which is fucked up. But
I know you hate it.
and I
Funny
keep
though.
asking you to stop, but you're always the one inciting that shit.
Yeah. I'm like, look, she's like a
Like
mallard.
no one will notice, and then you'll be like, "Oh, duck back," and I'm like, "Oh
Yeah,
my
they duck
fucking
back.
god!"
Everyone starts quacking at you and
And then
throwing.
the duck car goes by, you know where they,
Oh
you know
yeah.
what I'm talking about, and they
The
do
one that
that
goes in the
just to
lake.
make fun of me, and they have their
Yeah.
little fucking duck horns, and it's a
They're
it's a
all
fucking mess.
they're all throwing little pieces of white bread at you.
Yeah, and then I eat it because it's good food, and I don't want it to go to waste.
I eat it because I'm hungry.
Because I'm hungry. I put a little fucking Louisiana hot sauce on it and I go to
Oh,
town.
there you go. Oh, you're a New Orleans duck.
It's my favorite hot sauce. I'll just drink it straight.
The Louisiana hot sauce.
Oh yeah. I mean it's very mild, but it wakes you up. I
Yeah, it's too much vinegar. I don't like the vinegar.
fucking love the vinegar.
You would. You would.
And
Uh,
I gave it's a 6 from me.
a 6. Okay, I'll accept it.
Oh, okay. I thought
Uh,
it was gonna be more of a fight.
no, man. I can at least appreciate like I feel like let's say that you spoke German and you made us listen to some German fucking, Euro pop band, it would have been hard for me to, it's like it would have to be fucking amazing to get a high score, because I'm like, well, I feel completely disconnected from this, from
Yeah,
this music and whatever they're trying to say,
sure.
which is kind of like half of the fucking aspect of this album. So I totally get it. But yeah, obviously I loved it, I'm gonna give it like, I don't know, I can't give it an 8 because I agree with you that I feel like it's a little samey sometimes, and it does kind of fall into these singer-songwriter tropes at times that I'm also not like a huge fan of. Um, but just because it's repackaged in this way, I like it more than usual, but I still don't love it,
Sure.
if that makes sense. And this album will like, this is the album that blew her up also. So I feel like we're both gonna give it a lower score than most people would. Like she won like 7 Grammys off of this or some shit. Like
No shit.
Latin Grammys. Yeah, she won Song of the Year, Best Alternative Song, Record of the
Fuck.
Year, Best Alternative Music Album, Best Engineered Album. Like she won all those.
Damn,
Uh,
man.
Yeah,
Maybe in the fucking context of being in 2015, it would have been a whole different experience.
I think this album was a bit of a game changer for Spanish music in general. Like, I think she might have been one of the first kind of Adele style Spanish pop artists. You
Okay.
know what I mean?
Sure.
Yeah. So yeah, but I can't give it more. I can't give it an 8 because I do feel like there are some songs that I'm just like, because I love you, I'll listen to the song. But if it wasn't Natalia, I wouldn't listen to it. You know what I mean?
And everything is for her. That's why you kept like screaming that when you getting those fucking tattoos. Like
Yeah,
this for
yeah.
you,
Just bite it.
Natalia.
I was just screaming into a pillow so no one could hear me.
A body pillow.
Um, a body, yeah, a full body Lizzo pillow.
Fuck, do they sell those? I I
Oh,
might
I absolutely, they do.
I might be in the market.
They do. Yeah, I think we both would. And in a weird way, I put Lizzo and Natalia in the same category where it's just like if this song wasn't written and performed by Lizzo, I wouldn't like it as much. There's a lot of those songs as
For
well,
sure. Would you say
right?
what is you I it's again, it's hard for me to tell. Would you say she has a lot of personality on this record? Or it like does that take
Natalia?
front stage at all, Natalia?
Um, Personality is not how I would put it. Definitely like lyricism. The lyrics are really, really good on this album. And obviously her voice and her delivery and everything is just incredible in my opinion. But no, I wouldn't say that there's a ton of personality. I'd say there's a lot of playfulness. Maybe that's the personality that I'm feeling, like playfulness and very personal and introspective and stuff.
Okay.
But that personality really comes through in like the live performances. She just has this really like kind of effervescent, very bubbly like personality and very chill, you know. Um, and I think Lizzo's kind of the same way, but like Lizzo's actually her personality comes out way more in her music. But
I'd
anyway,
say
I'm
so.
gonna give this album like a 7.
A 7. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. There was a lot I liked about the record. Um, but I do have to be honest that it's like she's lucky that it's her and this isn't a fucking I don't know,
Which is fu- it,
A Taylor Swift record. Like if this was Taylor Swift with all the same music, all the same instrumentation, the exact same thing, but Taylor Swift is singing it, I don't think I would like it nearly as much.
it's still wild to me how many awards it got.
Yeah, it's
It's
crazy.
it's crazy.
Yeah, it was a big deal when it came out. And she has like 10 million monthly listeners on Spotify now. She's gigantic.
Shit.
Yeah, she's huge.
Well, I'm sure she listens to the show, so just know, hey, it's a great record. It's
Shout
nothing
out,
personal, you know.
shout out to you.
Shout out to
What
Natalia.
do you have ours or are you just straight
No,
choice in
I got
this?
some narnurbles. You know what
Okay.
I'm saying?
Yeah.
Uh, my first one is gonna be Hasta la Raiz,
Opening track, okay.
opening title track. Thought it was a fun way to come in, you know, with the
Yes, and go ahead, go.
just the kind of waltzy swing back and forth. And
Yeah.
Akashanani. I
Oh, you should have been singing these songs this entire episode. That would have been so fun.
fuck. I should have absolutely fucking bastardized the language.
Yeah, that would have been fucking great. Yeah, Hasta Raiz is a prime example of if this was played by anyone else, I would not like it, but because it's Natalia, I like it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think No Mas Llorar is an honorable for me.
Yeah, it's a great closing track, even though it's not something I would normally listen to. It's like what a like momentous ending to the album.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And that No Mas Llorar. Very cool. Very catchy. It's one of the parts of the album that gets stuck in my head a lot.
Oh, nice.
And oh god, it was, I believe, Para que sufrir. Uh,
That's one of your Nars?
yeah, that's one of my honorables. Uh, I just thought it
That's one of my
was,
choice nuts.
huh?
That's one of my choices.
Oh no shit. Let's talk about it.
Yeah, yeah. I fucking love that song.
I think it's a fantastic lowdown part of the album. It's got some, if I remember correctly, it's the one with some electric guitar that's got a little like wow kind of stuff going on,
Yeah,
real subtly.
yeah.
Um,
It gives me very like Brazilian jazz samba rhythm vibe to it, and it's just it sounds like a love song, and it's kind of beautiful and sweet, and it's basically saying like uh the line "Para que sufrir si no hace falta" is like, what's the point of suffering if there's no point of suffering? You know, like what's the point? Like
sure, yeah,
if there's no reason to suffer, why are you suffering?
yeah,
You know, it's just very like let's just relax, you know, like just enjoy it. And it's a very sweet song and yeah, and I'm a sucker for like samba music too. Like I'm a sucker for that.
yeah, yeah, yeah. It's a
I just
very,
I,
it's a classic vibe.
it's classic. It makes me feel like I'm in the 60s, you know, and I should be wearing like a white suit coat and doing a lot of coke.
Fuck yeah, dude. We need.
Yeah. Dude, let's get this. Let's make this dream come true
How can we
someday.
get you and some coke in a nice suit together?
If I visit you in Seattle, can you procure me a white suit with
I,
cocaine in the pocket?
okay, you do want the suit to be white. You want to, like, it's a little hide and seek
Cocaine.
kind of thing.
Yeah. I want to feel like Freddie Gibbs the whole time I'm in Seattle.
Yeah, no, I could do that for you.
All right. All right.
Yeah, cool. Uh,
Uh, go ahead.
anything else about the song? I think it's great vocally. I think it shows a lot of her like lounge chops.
Yep, for sure. It's very breathy and soft, and it's the song that gets most stuck in my head.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah, me and Christina sing this song a lot.
Well, I'm gonna do my first nug,
Oh my God.
which is track two, mi lugar favorito,
Mi lugar.
lugar. Okay.
Yeah, dude, that's such a fun little boppy song.
Yeah, man. It's like very active. It's very catchy. I thought it was a nice. I was almost a little sad that there weren't more moments like this on the record.
Yeah, there should have been more kind of like this was one of the most fun songs on the album. And if they had kept that kind of fun, almost like pumped up kicks energy, you
Kind of
know?
that vibe. They have this weird instrument. I don't really know what it is. I guess it's a piano. It's like it's the
Yeah. Mhm. It's just like shitty synthesizer.
yeah,
Like
but
it's just
like
a
it sounds great.
yeah,
It's perfect.
it sounds great. It reminds me of like Chicano Batman. I don't know if you ever listened to them. They're great.
I think I've heard a song by them.
I know I've told you about them for sure. Like
Yeah.
I listened to them a lot when we were in Mortalis. But they call themselves like quinceañera music. or like quinceañera rock is like the subgenre or whatever, and it's just these like I keep thinking ancient, but it's not ancient. Like what's the like the old school instruments? What are they called?
Vintage or
Vintage.
oh, okay.
Thank you. Yeah. But yeah, it just sounds like a vintage old synth like Wurlitzer synthesizer or something. It's like kind of crappy sounding, but it sounds great.
Yeah, yeah. I think it
Yeah.
goes perfectly in the music.
Yeah, it almost sounds like a cheesy 80s kids show theme song or something
I
at
I
times.
get that
There's a
vibe.
cheesiness to it.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, it's just got that like bouncy vibe to it with very cheery sounding vocals.
Yeah,
Um
I love this is one of the songs that kind of builds as it goes, right? In the second verse, that's when the strings come in
yeah.
and they start putting this kind of new energy to it that's almost like I make the weirdest connections, but it almost reminds me of like the Charlie Brown jazz music where it's just like the strings kind of push forward and they're like this kind of like force that kind of pulls you. The strings kind of like push and pull
Sure.
in the second verse, and I think it's just a really cool way that they played it.
Yeah, man.
It's a good song, man. I love that. That's one of my stars. That's why I have so much written down about it.
You got any other Narnerables?
Yeah, I have a lot. There weren't many songs that I didn't really enjoy on this album. Like one of my Nars is Ya no te puedo querer, which I don't think you liked.
Uh,
Or you said it was too long.
yeah, I said it. I think it dragged on.
I think that has a really like that chorus is really catchy. That
Yeah, yeah,
it almost sounds like a it reminded me of like if Twin Shadow could write the same exact melody but play it in a completely different context, and it would fit. It had that kind of 80s pop,
yeah, 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 yeah,
kind of
yeah.
like dark pop, emo pop sound. Really, really like that one. Um, and Vámonos Negrito, I thought that was a very close choice nut for me.
Really,
That was the most cinematic song on the album for me.
really.
It felt very intense to me.
That's that's great. I did not get that vibe at all.
You know what probably drives it over the edge is the lyrics, because she's talking about like her land and her people and her culture,
Damn.
and she's saying like, "Come with me, and I'm going to show you," and like the waves breathe with with the pride of whatever, and the sand does this, and
Yeah,
the
yeah,
trees
yeah.
do this. It's that type of lyrics, and I'm just like, "Oof, this feels like a Disney like Moana-esque kind of like like kind of intense Disney song, very cinematic
Damn. Yeah.
and it sounded like something out of a movie for me, and it was very close choice, Nug. And Lo que construimos, the song right after that, the super reggae kind of Jack Johnson-y song, I thought was great. That was just so fun, even though it made me sad. It's like sad lyrics, but I really like it.
But what was your nug? What was your second nug?
My second Nug, it follows a trend that we have seen. It is the song right after my first choice Nug. It is Nunca es suficiente.
That's my second one too.
Hey, I had a feeling.
Yeah.
I had a feeling. Yeah.
I please. Please go for it.
Well,
This is
what I
your
what I what I love the most about it is that it has this kind of like typical old world Mexican kind of rhythm, like Tejano mariachi kind of rhythm, the boom, 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 boom,
Yeah,
boom,
it's got those
boom,
like
boom.
little upbeats on the guitar. Ching, 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 ching.
Yeah, it's the most circusy rhythm on the album, which I had a feeling that you would like. Uh, but what I loved is that they combine that kind of like old school mariachi type of like rhythm to it. It's probably not even mariachi; it's probably something more specific, and I just don't know. But then they added that the lead guitar doing like dum, 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 dum. That gave it like a Johnny Cash vibe. to me, and I was like, oh, this is cool.
It yeah, yeah. It's
And then it
I was
becomes like a
wondering
reggae song.
why it was kind of that vibe, and I think it is that guitar kind of doing those little low kind of straight notes.
Yeah, because it's like kind of tremolo and a little jangly, and it has this like ping pong reverb type thing, so it sounds like Johnny Cash.
Yeah.
So it's the exact way that his guitar sounded. And then it becomes this like super catchy, cute, beautiful like reggae chorus. And it's great.
Yeah, dude. I it This is probably one of the catchier things on the album. And it has the those horns come in on like just the last part. And it's
Yes.
kind of like they're they're produced in kind of an odd way. It kind of sounds like they're played on like a low quality speaker or something.
Yeah. It sounds like they're coming through a radio.
Yeah, but it sounds fucking I love that about it.
Yeah, it's great. And it pushes the that kind of like old school vibe over the edge a little bit. And it's like, man, the combination of things that they're putting on this song is really cool. And then it almost gets a little psychedelic in the choruses at the end because they add all these like this really like weird wah, really heavy affected wah guitar and these like warbly electric pianos that are kind of echoey and everything. And it's just like, whoa, it starts kind of building up and getting kind of like trippy and psychedelic at the end. And it's just like, it's such a nice touch.
I don't know about psychedelic, but I did like the addition of those
For
things.
lack of a better word, right?
I was psyching out, bro. I experienced fucking ego death listening to this song.
Yeah, yeah, I almost fricked out,
I
man.
freaked out, man.
I almost fricked. What did you love about it? That did I mention? Did I not mention something?
No. I mean, it's just like it's catchy through the whole thing. I love how playful it sounds. I love
Mhm.
those horns every time they come in. Uh, da so suffer free, and I get da. Just
Yeah, that chorus is so catchy. See through us.
and yeah. It's just
That is just undeniable.
I love it, man.
Yeah,
It
me
was a
too.
little rayish sunshine for me.
Yes, yeah, and it's a great follow-up track to Para que sufrir, que para que sufrir.
Yeah, yeah, it brings it back up. Bring
Brings
the
it back.
mood back up.
Yeah, and that's what I think, you know what, that probably adds to why the end of the album feels like such a kind of like intense, kind of heavy bit of a slog. Because it's like Para que sufrir happens, and then it has like three fun songs in a row after that, and then it ends in a really with two
Yeah,
intense emotional
it's a little
tracks.
awkward.
Yeah. It's a little awkward. The structure is a little weird, but the structure does kind of feel like a musical.
All right. Well, thank you guys for listening. Uh, be sure to check us out on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts. We're on there. We got video on YouTube if you want to see our little faces. We got podcasts everywhere else if you don't.
Yeah,
We have,
we're just audio.
huh?
We got faces for radio, to be honest.
I I don't know. I feel like I
Um,
could get on TV with this little thing. I feel like I could make
you
something work.
you have a much better chance than I do.
If you had to cover up, I think you'd be pretty fucked.
If I did, oh yeah, I would have to wear like long sleeves in every scene. It would be
Well, it's just because
really.
like the best part of you is your body.
Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, all good.
Everyone loves to be objectified a little bit, every now and
I I feel like you especially. I feel like you
then.
deserve it, man.
Yes.
You've been working hard for that.
I've been paying a lot of money and going through a lot of pain to look this good.
Be sure to go to the earbuds Instagram so that you can go to Lucas's Instagram so you can check out his tattoos.
Yeah, find me. You're gonna have to find me. I'm gonna make it difficult. We got a great we had some great interaction on our Instagram this week.
Oh
It was
no
really
shit.
fun. Yeah, I hadn't checked our Instagram in a while, so I opened it up and we had a random comment on a random video. and the comment was, "No offense, but you guys suck."
That's that's so
And I was
funny.
like,
The like the last time we've gotten just a random comment from someone was probably like honestly like 4 or 5 months ago. And so
"Yeah,
for like someone to walk into like an empty bar and then
yeah,
shout on stage like you guys suck and then walk away, it's like
yeah."
cool. Thanks.
I immediately was like, "What the fuck? Like, why would someone comment that on a random video?" And then I went to the video, and guess which one it was?
Was it OCs?
Yep.
Yeah, that makes sense. Biggest
We did
regret of
yeah,
2022.
we did a review of a foul form by the OCs, and spoiler, we hated it, and we got the ire of some of their fan base,
Well,
and it's
because
like they're
Lucas posted it
super
on
toxic.
the OC subreddit with the
Yeah,
title
but
"This thing sucks."
even then, it was like people on YouTube found it and were just like just dogging on us. Like people hated our review and our thoughts on the album. So then when I saw what it was, I was like, oh my God, this is hilarious. So I commented back and I said, oh look, another butthurt OCs fan, and I did like a waving emoji. And they responded, oh look, someone who doesn't know what they're talking about. And I just like started cracking up. I'm like, oh my God, this is so funny, dude.
Cool. Well, if y'all want to leave, like, if y'all want to put a little effort into hurting us, you can go on our
Yeah, we can do
Instagram. You
it.
can comment on YouTube.
Yeah.
Lucas reads every
Put some fucking
one, and
mustard
he
on
takes each one personally. So if you want to bring him down, that's the place to do it. I'd say
it's too easy.
it's too easy. um, Lucas, is there anything you want to say at the end here?
Um, you know,
Cool, man. You always throw that fucking ball to me, and I got to do something with it. I thought I'd surprise you, but you're just fucking saying no, but to my fucking improv routine.
yeah, it's a pretty big matzo ball hanging out there now.
Well, Lucas, this was good.
This was good. Do we know what we're listening to on the next episode?
I believe we're doing the buddies, right?
Oh my God, the third annual Buddies Award
We've
show.
been at this shit too long, man. Too long.
It's been it's been a minute, and a minute is 3 years.
It's just you work, you live your life, and then it passes by, man.
Texas Minute. Well, the next episode we're going to be doing the best of 2023 award show. We're going to be awarding our favorite album of the year, and it's all things that we talked about on the podcast. We're not going to be fucking throwing in some random ass
I,
albums or bands or anything.
I mean, we might. Maybe one or two categories.
Fuck me. All right.
We'll see.
Well, it's going to be all the best of this year. That's exciting. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. How many categories are there? Like 10?
I think there's like, I think we got it down to 10. Each year we've just like
We turned it down.
taken down more and more, and like, we can't do like 3 hour episodes anymore.
Yeah, the first one was like maybe over 3 hours, and the second one was like two and a
It was
half.
like 2.5. We're hoping to get it down to 2 this year.
Yeah, we can do 2 hours, but we do drink, and I get kind of fucked up during these episodes.
Whatever, man.
Um,
It's just like a little victory
super fun.
lap on the air, you know?
Hell yeah, we deserve it, man. 3 years is a long fucking time.
Fuck yeah. So come on in, check that out. Have some fun with us.
Dude,
Um,
that's longer than most people's marriages. That's all I'm saying.
what are you suggesting?
You already know
Shit. Well, that question on the next episode of Earbuds.
it.
It better be real. It better be a real diamond. All right. So figure it out.
Thanks, buddies.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.